Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? Hope that all of you are well by the grace of Almighty Allah and passing a very pleasant time with your family members. All of you know that COVID-19 or coronavirus has the highest peak all over the world as well as in Bangladesh. So, what should you do? You should stay home and stay safe. As a part of your exam preparation, Rajuk Uttara Model College has taken some great initiative like introducing Zoom online classes, taking online exams, and uploading video lectures on our college website. So you should try to keep visiting our college website to get new and new videos on different topics and different subjects. This is my first video lecture with you with the students of class 9 and 10. So I think I should introduce myself at first. This is Md.Moazzem, lecturer in English, Rajuk Uttara Model College. Our today's topic is tag question or question tag. We can also say it question tag. This lesson is planned actually for the students of class 9 and 10 and especially for the students of Rajuk Uttara Model College. And the lesson outcome is that at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to get a clear idea about the formation and uses of tag question, and you will also be able to use that tag correctly in your practical life or daily conversation. So watch the video very attentively. At first, let's come to discuss types of question. We know that usually there are three types of question: WS question, yes or no question, and then tag question. WS question, by WS question we means that the question which starts with the WS word like when, what, who, whom, whose, where. These types of words are usually used to start the sentence. Suppose, where do you live? You have to say Dhaka or Borishal or Nator or Rajshahi. You cannot say yes or no. So this kind of what do you like? You have to say something. You cannot say yes or no. But there are different type of question which you can answer by using yes or no only. Suppose if someone asks you, do you like games and sports? Do you like sweets? Can you play cricket? In this case, you can use yes or no as your common answer. Only you can answer this question using yes or no. There is another type of question that we call tag question. Actually, tag question is not really a question. Then why do we use a tag question? And why do we call it a tag question? Why do we call it a question? We use a tag question actually, number one, for getting recognition, for confirmation or agreement. Suppose you say something and you want others recognition, if others confirmation, if someone agrees with you or not, and you expect that he or she will agree with you. So we use tag for confirmation. So this is not a question actually. As a common mode of speaking practice for our everyday speaking, especially for spoken English, we use lots of tag question in our practical life. We use tag in dialogue or conversation while writing any dialogue for your exam or to make any dialogue or conversation with friends or others. We use lots of tag question, and tag is used universally for communication, for speaking communication actually. Then comes to the point, what is a tag question? Tag means to add something. So tag question means adding a question to the statement. Tag question itself is not a sentence, it is a part of a sentence. Actually, at first a statement is given. You know that according to meaning there are 5 kinds of sentence: assertive, interrogative, imperative, optative, and exclamatory. And in most cases you can use a tag question. You can use a tag with an assertive sentence, with an imperative sentence, with exclamatory sentence. And according to structure, there are 3 kinds of sentence. In all these cases, for example, with simple sentence, with complex sentence, with compound sentence, in all these sentences you can use a tag question. So tag is used within a sentence. It is not separately a question. Okay. Then we should know how a tag question is formed. How can we form a tag question? Actually, Then we'll come to the rules of tag question. Okay, actually there are two parts of a tag. The first portion is a verb and the second portion is a noun. If the statement in the question is given in affirmative form, then tag should be negative, and if the statement is given in negative form, then your tag should be an affirmative form. Then next rules is that you have to use the verb in contraction form, in short form. You cannot use do not. You have to write here don't. You cannot use cannot. You have to write here can't. So you have to use. You cannot write should not. You have to write shouldn't. So always use a contraction form in a tag question, and you have to use a correct pronoun instead of the subject. We know that we use a pronoun instead of a noun, but in some cases you can also use a pronoun instead of another pronoun. There are some common pronoun we'll discuss after from these rules here. Let's come to the first rules. First rules is that the uses of be verb or have verb. Be verb is missing in this sheet, sorry. Be verb or have verb. To be verb, by to be verb we mean am, is, are, was, were, and to have verb means have, has, or had. So in a tag question, in case of any be verb or have verb, you have to use the same verb here. And we know that have, has, had, was, were, am, is, are, all these verb may be used as auxiliary verb, but this verb has the force to work as a principal verb also. However, it doesn't matter if it is an principal, it is an auxiliary verb or it is a principal verb. The rules is same here. You have to use the same verb in tag. For example, he has a bad headache. So you can use, you don't need to change the pronoun here. The pronoun remains same, and with the affirmative statement, you should use a negative tag. Hasn't he? They were absent yesterday. So these are the example of past tense, and you don't need to change your pronoun here also. Why not they? Note one point that you know most of the uses of tag question in contraction form, but there is some confusion. Confusion arises when you are asked to write am not in tag question. Instead of am not, to mean am not, you can use aren't in tag. So for are not you can use aren't, and for am not also you can use aren't. So that is the speciality of tag question. For example, I am totally innocent in this matter. Here am is used as a principal verb, but you have to write here aren't I. I am studying hard to make a good result. Am is used as an auxiliary verb, but the rules same here. You have to use aren't I. Then comes rules 2. In case of any models, use the same models in tag. For example, we ought to love our country. So your tag should be following the first portion of the models. The model verb is here ought to. We know that there are many modal verbs used in English like can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, ought to, have to, has to, used to, need. So with these models, we have to use same models in tag. We ought to love our country. The correct tag should be ought to. You have to use only the first portion of that models verb here. Ought to. He must hurry up. The modal verb here must. So you have to use must in tag also. And the statement is given in affirmative form, so your answer should be negative. Mustn't he? We can't stay here anymore. This is the example of negative sentence, and can is used as modals here, so your answer should be can we. You have to keep in mind two things while changing any tag question, two exceptions here. For used to, you have to use didn't in tag. You can never use not. You have to use didn't. You have to always consider it as a past form of modals and use past form of verb here. And another exception is that while using need, you should be very cautious because need may be used both as modals. Sorry, there is a misspell here, not modals, it should be modals. Both as modals and main verb according to uses. We can use need as a modals. We can also use need as a main verb. For example, he need not wait anymore. He need not wait anymore. Need is used as a modals here because wait is used as main verb here. So you should use the same modals here. Need he. The statement is in negative form, so your answer should be affirmative. Need he. Then we come to the uses of need as a main verb here. I need a pen. Here need is used as the only verb and need is used as main verb or principal verb here. So you have to follow the tense here. As this is the example of present indefinite tense and the statement is given in affirmative form, your answer should be don't I. Okay, next example, father used to wake up early in the morning. Used to is the example of modals and we use used to in past form only, and I told you that you cannot use not he, you have to use didn't he. So instead of used to, the common tag should be didn't. Comes to rules number 3. In case of present indefinite tense and past indefinite tense, you have to use a tag like do, does, did in negative statement, don't, doesn't, didn't in affirmative statement, but you must keep in mind the uses of correct tense here. For example, it happened long ago. Didn't it? So this is the example of past indefinite tense and the pronoun remains same here, it, and the statement is given in affirmative form, so the tag should be didn't it in negative form. He knows nothing about this incident. This is the example of negative statement, so your answer should be affirmative, but you should also keep in mind the uses of tense here. This is the example of present indefinite tense, so in this case you can use an affirmative tag, does he. They seem to be very callous. Seem is used as main verb here, principal verb here, and this is the example of present indefinite tense, so they remain as the same pronoun here, and this is the example of affirmative statement, so your answer should be negative following present indefinite tense, don't they. Next comes rules number 4. Instead of everyone, everybody, anyone, anybody, someone, somebody, no one, nobody, none, one, or all. Instead of all this pronoun, these are the examples of pronoun. Instead of all this pronoun, we can use a common pronoun here, that is they. For example, but you should keep in mind that in right form of verb, we usually use this pronoun as singular subject, but in tag question they are considered as plural, so the common pronoun is they here. For example, nobody came forward to help him, so instead of nobody we can write a correct pronoun in tag they, and this is the example of past indefinite tense and negative form, so your answer should be affirmative, did they. Everyone craves after power. This is the example of present indefinite tense and in affirmative statement, so your answer should be negative. Instead of everyone we can write they, so your answer should be don't they. Someone is looking for you. Someone is looking for you. Instead of someone, common pronoun you can use here they, and with they you can use are as main verb, and the statement is affirmative, so you can write correct negative statement, negative tag here, aren't they. Keep in mind one thing, that there is some verb like be verb or present indefinite tense, and the students are writing, for example in second example the students are writing doesn't they, because they are following the verb, but you should keep in mind that in tag you are using a different subject here, a different pronoun here, that is they. So with they you can never use doesn't they, or with they you can never write isn't they. So you should be very careful about the uses of verb here with they. Okay, next comes rules number 5. There are some negative words that we know, never, none, nobody, everyone knows this or not, but there are some other negative words like hardly, scarcely, rare, rarely, few, little. All these words are used in negative form to mean negative, so we should use an affirmative tag here. For example, this species is very rare. Instead of this we can write it, and rare is a negative word, so your tag should be affirmative. Is it? There is little water in the pond. The Bangla meaning is that পুকুরে পানি নেই বললেই চলে, এতই কম যে বলার মতো না, নেই বললেই চলে. So little is used as negative word, so you have to use an affirmative tag here. Is there? The pronoun remains same here, is there. There is hardly any person who has not heard of COVID-19. there is hardly any person. Hardly is used as a negative word. নেই বললে চলে. So in this case we can remain the same pronoun there, and hardly is used as negative word, so your tag should be affirmative is there. But this is the example. The last sentence is an exceptional case. For example, I have a few friends. A few, a little. You should keep that note. With a little or if a few, these words give you an affirmative meaning. So after a little or a few, you should use a negative tag, as these words are used in affirmative form. If I say I have a few friends, what do I mean in Bangla? আমার কিছু বন্ধু আছে, অল্প কিছু বন্ধু আছে, বাট আছে. So you have to keep in mind the different meaning. Few and little are used as negative word, and a little and a few are used as affirmative words, positive words. Okay. Then comes rules number 6. These are the example of demonstrative pronoun. If this demonstrative pronoun is used in singular form like this or that, you can use a common pronoun here, that is it. And if there are plural demonstrative like these or those, you can use a common pronoun here, they. For example, these mangoes are ripe, aren't they? So mangoes, you see that plural words, and these are also used for plural form. So you have to use they as a pronoun, and these are the example of affirmative statements, so your answer should be negative, aren't they? That was a great challenge to his way of success. That instead of that means singular word, we can use it as a common pronoun, and this is the example of past tense in affirmative statement, so your answer should be negative, wasn't it? Next comes this is surely a hypocrisy, isn't it? Instead of this, we can use it as a pronoun in tag, and this is an affirmative statement, so your tag should be negative, isn't it? Rule 7. These are the list of feminine words. There are some confusing words that we never think to be feminine, but these words are considered as feminine, especially for using any tag. For example, the moon, the earth, the spring, any country, any name of a country or any country, any name of a country is considered to be feminine. Then autumn, nature, river, maybe river or name of a river, any name of a river, or ship, train, maybe ship, name of a ship or name of a train. Then peace, charity, all these words are considered as feminine words, so always use a common pronoun here, she, that is she. For example, the Titanic sank in 1912, didn't she? Titanic is the example name of a train, and for this we have to use she as a pronoun, and this is the example of past tense and affirmative statement, so you have to use negative tag, didn't she? Peace regains victory in the long run. This is the example of present indefinite tense and affirmative statement, and instead of peace we have to write she, so your answer should be doesn't she? Bangladesh is a riverine country. Instead of Bangladesh, we have to write here common pronoun. Bangladesh is considered to be feminine gender, so the answer should be isn't she? Next rules. Any object or any abstract idea or noun, or any inferior animal or baby or child who has no sense actually, these types of words are usually counted as singular or plural. If this type of words are used in singular form, you can use it as a pronoun, and if these words are used as in plural form, you can use they as a pronoun. For example, the dog has been barking for a long time. The dog has been barking. Sorry, there's a mistake here. Not isn't it. It should be hasn't it. Hasn't it. The dog has been barking for a long time. Okay. There's a mistake here. The answer should be hasn't it. So there is use of auxiliary verb has here, and dog is used in singular form, so you can use it instead of dog. The baby is crying for its mother. Instead of baby, you can write it as a pronoun, and you have to use the statement is given in affirmative form, so the tag should be negative. Next comes the pencils are very costly. Instead of pencils, as these words are used as plural form, the pronoun should be they, and you can use aren't they as correct tag. The mother rose at the sight. The mother means motherhood here. Mother is used as an abstract word, abstract noun, not a common noun here. So if mother, father, or brother, or the beast, this kind of words, if it means an abstract word, then you can use it. And past form of rice is rose, so you have to follow the tense also. Following past tense, you can write didn't it here, didn't it. Next comes rules number 9, and that is the rules of using imperative sentence. There are some specific rules for using a tag in imperative sentence. For example, if we want to mean any order, request, advice, or offer, you can write will you or won't you. Any of the answers will do. You can also write can't you. Sometimes you can also write will you, won't you, or can't you. If in an imperative sentence we use the sentence to forbid something, the statement should be negative, then your answer should be a common one, will you. So in imperative sentence to forbid something, we use a common tag, will you. Let us or let's, instead of let's or let us, we can use shall we. You should use a common answer here, shall we. Then in another uses of pronoun with let, if there is uses of them, me, him, or her, you can use will you or won't you, but I write will you here. Will you is more formal, so you can use will you here. For example, please have a cup of tea. Will you or won't you, both are correct. You can write any of the answers. Let's arrange a picnic next week. Shall we. Let's arrange a picnic. So instead of let's, you can use shall we in tag. Don't go outside without a mask. So we use this statement in negative form to forbid something. The correct tag should be will you. Let him say whatever he likes. So I told you that besides let's us, in other cases of pronoun, uses of pronoun, you can write will you or won't you. So let him say whatever he likes. The correct tag should be will you. Then comes the uses of exclamatory sentence. Usually there is no different structure for using a tag in exclamatory sentence. You have to use as you do in an assertive sentence. For example, what a pandemic situation coronavirus has created, hasn't it? So there are uses of has, and this is the example of present perfect tense. So you have to use, instead of a pandemic situation, you can use it as a pronoun, and this is the example of present perfect tense. And affirmative statement, your answer should be hasn't it. So there is no different rules for exclamatory sentence here. How clever you are. You are. So you have to use you as a subject in tag, and this is the example of affirmative. So your answer should be negative, aren't you. Next, what a great shot. Actually, there are some exclamatory sentences which are given in short form. What a beautiful night. How clever of you. What a great shot. The subject and verb are sometimes kept silent, but you have to follow it accordingly. What a great shot. The correct tag should be isn't it. Next comes rules 11. These are the rules as you have learned in right form of verb or subject verb agreement. If there are uses of along with, together with, accompanied by, as well as, all these connector means almost same thing, একত্রে, একসঙ্গে. So in this case, you can use a tag question as you do in the right form of verb or subject verb agreement, following the first subject, following the first one. For example, the MP or the member of the parliament, accompanied by some other local leaders, has recently visited the project, hasn't he? So the connector is here, accompanied by means ekotre or ekshate, and there are two subjects here, the MP and some other local leaders. So you should always follow the first subject here, MP, and the tense is given present perfect tense and affirmative statement. So your answer should be hasn't he. You can also write hasn't she, because MP may be a female also. So in this case, you can write hasn't she. I, along with my cousins, am supposed to reach there soon. The connector is here, along with, and there are two subjects here. The first one is I, and the second subject is my cousins. So you have to use, you have to make your tag following the first subject. The first subject is here I. So with I, you can use aren't I, not ain't I. You have to write here aren't I. Next, rules 12. Uses of either or, neither nor, not only but also, and not like this. With this connector, as you do in right form of verb or subject verb agreement, always follow the closest subject of the verb, usually the second subject. As there are two uses of subject in this case, usually the second subject or close subject of the verb, you have to follow that subject and you have to make tag accordingly. For example, either you or your brother has said so. So there are two subjects here. First one is you and second one is your brother. So you have to make your tag following the closest subject of the verb, that is your brother. And this is the example of present perfect tense and in affirmative form. So your tag should be negative. Hasn't he? Next one, neither she nor her father was present. She and her father both are used as subject here, but you have to use the closest subject of verb. Closest subject of verb is her father. So your answer should be was he. This is a negative statement, so your text should be affirmative. In a complex sentence, always use a tag following the principal clause or main clause, but there is some exception here. But the common rule is that for any complex sentence, follow the principal clause or main clause and use the tag accordingly. For example, though it rained a lot the previous night, the match started in time. So you see that though it rained a lot the previous night, this is the example of subordinate clause, and the match started in time, this is the example of principal clause. And you have to make tag following the second clause here. The match started in time. So this is the example of past indefinite tense. Didn't eat. Instead of the match, we can use it as a pronoun here. Next example, you will fall in danger if you don't start in time. The main clause is here, you will fall in danger, and the subordinate clause is if you don't start in time. So you have to use your tag following the first clause or principal clause here. You will fall in danger. So your answer should be won't you. Note one thing, that if that is kept silent as a connector, that is usually used as a connector in complex sentence, but when that is kept silent in a complex sentence, then you should follow the last clause to make your tag. For example, I think he will pass the exam. The second clause is here, the last clause is here, he will pass the exam. So your answer should be won't he. There should be no confusion here. He will pass the exam is the last clause, so your answer should be won't he. You can follow these rules only when that is kept silent in any complex sentence. Okay. Then comes rules 14. Any sentence if starts with who, then at first make it. This sentence is not interrogative actually. This sentence is used to mean assertive, but at first make it assertive. Then you can use a tag here, like transformation. For example, who forgets these memories? If you make this sentence assertive, your answer should be nobody forgets these memories. So your answer should be do they, because with nobody or no one we use they, and with negative words we use affirmative tag do they following present indefinite tense. Next example, who cares? That means nobody cares. If you make it assertive, your answer should be nobody cares. So in this case we can use do they, because instead of nobody or no one we can use they, and this is the example of negative word, so we can use affirmative tag here do they. We come to the last rules from tag question here, and then we'll have some more exercises or practices. Okay, for anything, something, nothing or everything, instead of all this pronoun we can use a common pronoun here, it, because all these pronouns are used to mean singular form. We can use it as a pronoun in tag. For example, nothing is certain in this world, we can use is it, This is the example of negative statement, so your answer should be affirmative. Anything will do, যে কোনো কিছুই চলবে, won't it? So this is the example of future indefinite tense, use of modals here, and anything is replaced by it as a pronoun here. Okay, there are some examples for you. We will solve it now. The will of the people prevails in the long run. People is not used as a subject here. The subject is the will of the people. লোকজনের ইচ্ছা, ইচ্ছা জয়লাভ করে শেষ পর্যন্ত, ইচ্ছাটাই টিকে থাকে, জনগণের ইচ্ছাই শেষ পর্যন্ত টিকে থাকে. So the subject is singular here, so your tag should be doesn't it. Then nothing is more enjoyable to me than watching cricket. Nothing is used as negative word, so your answer should be is it, is it. Our exam is over, everyone is free now. So you have to use tag following the second subject as your tag is given here. Everyone is free now, aren't they? Instead of everyone we can use they, and we should match the verb here also, aren't they. What a devastating flood is it, isn't it? A rolling stone gathers no moss. A rolling stone used as singular subject here. This is the example of proverbs, but the rules remain same here. This is the example of negative statement. Your answer should be affirmative. Does it? Fishes can swim. So for models in affirmative statement, you have to make negative tag here. Can't they? Instead of fishes, you can use they. Let's buy a nice gift for her. Instead of let's, we can use shall we. So the answer is same here, shall we. All of us know about our duty. All of us. The subject we can find out from here. We. From us we can use we. And this is the example of present indefinite tense. The answer should be don't we. What you say is not true. What you say, the whole clause or subordinate clause is used here as subject. So we can use it as a pronoun here, and the statement is given in negative form. Your answer should be affirmative. Is it? তুমি যা বলছো তা সত্য নয়, সত্য কি? Is it? The moon is a beauty. The moon, as I discussed earlier, that used as a means usually a female. So a female is used as a female word. So you can use she instead of moon. The moon is a beauty, isn't she? I would like to do it gladly. Would here, as we use the main verb here after would, so we can write wouldn't I. Would is used as a modals here. Have a cup of coffee. This is the example of imperative sentence. So for this imperative sentence we can use will you or won't you. Both are correct here. It hardly rains in winter. Hardly is used as a negative word here, so you can use does it, does it. Half of the books are missing, or not they. Half of the books are used as plural word, so the pronoun should be they. And this is the example of affirmative statement, so your answer should be negative, or not they. All that glitter is not gold. This is the example of negative statement, so your answer should be affirmative. Is it? Is it? As he was a stranger, nobody paid any attention to him. This is the example of complex sentence. The main clause is here. Nobody paid any attention to him. So you can write did they. Did they. Instead of nobody, you can use they. And this is the example of negative statement. Your answer should be affirmative. Did they. The beast in him is always active. Beast means beast is used as a abstract noun here, not common noun, as an abstract noun. So you can write isn't it, isn't it. The Dhumketu bounds for Rajshahi. Dhumketu is the name of a train which bounds for Rajshahi now. And instead of a train we can use she as a common pronoun. Your answer should be in present indefinite tense. Your answer should be doesn't she, not doesn't it. Keep in mind doesn't she. She had better take some rest. Had better is used as a modals here, so your answer should be hadn't he. I think he has no interest in sports. I think that actually that is kept silent in this sentence. So in complex sentence, if that is kept in silent, then you can use tag following the last clause, that is she has no interest in sports. So your correct answer should be has she. Has she is the correct answer here. So I finished my lecture today, but thank you all who had the passion to watch my video. and I think you will be benefited following these rules again and again from any grammar book, and practice it accordingly from your test paper or other books. Thank you very much.